Today is the 18th of March 2009. We are up in the Kogarah Marist School Archives with a very special guest, Sister Pat Anderson. Welcome, Sister Pat.
Thank you, Neil.
Sister Pat, tell us about the early days. Where you were born, where you went to school, and your early career.
Right, Neil. I was born in Parramatta. I came from a background where my father was a horse trainer, and so I was very involved in the racing game, as they say. I started school at Marist Park, Blessed Oliver Plunkett, and from there, for my secondary school, I went to Our Lady of Mercy College, Parramatta. I left school in third year, and I did a secretarial course. I worked for a solicitor for 4 years, and then I entered the convent in 1955. My first appointment was to Cronulla, and my second year in Cronulla I had 122 pupils in one big hall. They were first grade and second grade. From there I was asked to open the school at Woolooware, which is only about 3 kilometres away from Cronulla, St Aloysius. I was there for 2¼ years, and then I was sent to open Carlingford School, St Gerard Magellas. There I was there from 65 to 69. I was sick there, and I was off for about 6 months, and then I went as a 3rd grade teacher when I recovered to Ryde. I was in Ryde for about 4 years, and then I went as a principal at Epping. From Epping I had a sabbatical year for study, and when I returned, I came back to Cronulla to be the principal of St Aloysius. I left Aloysius then, and I did a CPE course, Clinical Pastoral Education. When I'd finished that, I worked in Calvary Hospital as a pastoral care worker for 7½ years. And I had an occasional meeting with Peter McNamara. He knew I'd just resigned from Calvary, and he said, well, will you come to Kogarah? I'd never been in a secondary school, but I came in June 1996.
Now, Peter was principal at the time, wasn't he?
Principal, yes, he was the principal. So he left towards at the end of that year, so my role when he was here was just helping with some administration activities, interviewing parents of children who were hoping to enrol in Year 7 mainly, and they were from the state school. During my time with Peter, I asked for a few weeks off. I wanted to do an archival course in New South Wales Uni, which he graciously gave me the time. And then when I returned, it was then that I started to do some work in archives, and I think here credit must be given to the early brothers who had kept or had collected photos of the early days of the school. They weren't in any order, and they were all over the school, mainly in filing cabinets. So when Peter left at the end of that year, I was involved in archives. I had what is now the sports room to work from. And when Peter went and Brian Roberts came as principal, I did that for a year, and I continued doing other bits and pieces and pastoral role around the school. And then towards the end of Brian Roberts' time, I was really involved heavily in the archives, and I was generously given rooms in the old monastery and Bernie Holsworth, together with Brian, helped sort of made money available to to put into the archives. Then when Pat O'Connor came, he also was very supportive. Staff was supporting. One of the highlights of the time I was in the archives was initiated by Pat O'Connor, who followed Brian Roberts as principal, in initiating and the revival of the Ex-Students Association. And a big reunion was held after much work by many people, and 700 that really was, I think, was the rebirth of the ex-students. And from there, we had another one a few years afterwards, and a newsletter was initiated again by Pat and very professionally presented by the administration staff in the office, the front desk. Then unfortunately, after nearly 13 years, because of the stairs, I just found that I couldn't carry on, much to my sorrow. But I've always felt very welcome when I came back.
And you've been busy since?
Well, yes, since then I have been involved with our aged care, also visiting people in the area, particularly in hospitals or taking them to hospitals. And I think it's been a real plus that I am still in the Shire, where I've spent more than half of my 51 years of religious life. I know the people and I know the area, and I am really very happy and hope I can continue doing the work of our order.
Well, thanks again for coming to be interviewed today. And I know Sister Pat wouldn't say this, but without the work of Sister Pat in that 10-year period, we wouldn't be having a centenary celebration like we'll have this year. All the hard work was done over the last 10 years, and it just wouldn't have happened like that. So Sister Pat, you are one of the key people in the centenary of the school, even though you never went here as a student or taught here.
That's right.
But you never thought at this stage in life you'd be sort of keyed into a school like Kogarah Marist. So again, thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
I think there was something I did forget, which I must acknowledge, and that is when we first started the archives, Peter McNamara had formed a small committee, archival committee, under the leadership, I suppose, of the librarian, Angela Chisholm. Yes. Yeah. So she really did have a collection of things. So,
good.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Neil. Thank you, Darren.
Okay, we'll now go and get the official photograph taken.